Hey, welcome everyone. So today I'm talking to you all about how to build your social media profile. So this is a topic that I love, which is why it's like my first ever big training, I suppose. I have, I started my social media from a private account. So I've, over the last 7 months, been like really learning so much about how to build your following, how to find and connect with my people. And I'm taking things that I've learned, things that I've done, you know, wrong, I suppose, and different things I've learned from different people, with whether that's within Monat, or other people that I've learned from. So I'm kind of bringing everything together that I've learned so far. So I hope that you'll get something from this. And as I said, if you want to ask me any questions along the way, feel free to jump in and ask anything. So I'm just going to move this because I can't see. So some of this stuff you probably, because I'm doing this training for anyone that's going to be joining me as well, I'm going from the basics. So a lot of you probably know some of the things that I'm going to talk about first, but yeah, bear with me. So I'm going to go through a personal account, taking it to a business account, auditing your followers and following, all things about creating a beautiful landing page, how to create a reel. I'm going to go into both Canva and Instagram because I love using Canva. So a bit of like technical how to do Canva reels. And then I'm going to go into probably thing that I know Mish was the most keen on learning. This is like building relationships on social media, networking, doing reach outs, all that type of thing. So if you're coming to Instagram and social media from a private account, which a lot of people are, you need to go from a personal to a creator account. Now, there's two different options with there's creator account and then a business account, professional account. The reason that I would always suggest to go to change to a creator account is it gives you the most range of music options. When you go to a professional account, you don't get hardly any music options. I've done both of them. The other thing with a professional account is it's mostly for lead generations and directly selling products from their pages. So most of us here would be using and utilizing a creator account. The other thing I always suggest, and I've talked to a few of the girls in our team about this, is when you're taking your Instagram account from a private to a creator account and turning it into a business page, and take everything here that I say with how it resonates with you. But I really got a lot out of auditing my followers when I first started. So both following and followers. So when I first started, I went through and unfollowed anyone that I didn't feel that I resonated with anymore, or that I didn't feel good when I saw their content, because I really wanted my page to give me a good feeling when I was, not that I'm doing a whole heap of scrolling anymore, but I was definitely following people that made me feel, for example, like I wasn't, I didn't look good enough, or that just gave me a bit of a negative feeling when I would see their content. So I went through and sort of audited all of the people that I was following, unfollowed a lot. And then I also went and so people that were following me that I felt like I couldn't fully be myself in front of. Now, you know, I don't know if I would always recommend doing this, but say, for example, you have an old boyfriend following you, or you have an auntie following you, or an uncle following you, or a mother-in-law, or whatever. If that is in some way limiting how you're showing up and limiting how you're fully expressing yourself on your page, I would highly recommend unfollowing them or going in and removing them from your followers. You just want to get rid of all of that noise in your head, so that you can fully show up as who you are, because that is what is going to draw people to your page. The more authentic you are and the more yourself you are, you just want to remove all of those barriers. So that's something that I did when I first started, which really, really helped me. So let's move that. That's better. The first thing I'm going to go into is like creating a beautiful landing page. So at the end, I'm going to go through networking and drawing people to your page. Now, I'm going into this part first because when people come to your page, you want a reason that they stay and a reason that they hit follow. Now, if you haven't done the work in creating your page yet, the people that you are drawing in aren't going to stay or want to follow you if there's nothing really there for them to want to stay and follow. So beautiful bio picture, something that you can see clearly shows your face. And then also a little bit about you in your bio. I have had recommendations from quite a few people that within your name, so see how I've got my name and then I've got what I do. So when people see you, whether that's in their stories or they see you come up as commenting, they can see that full, not just your name, so that they can see what you do. So instantly they want to know a little bit more about you, or they want to come and follow you. So I take a little bit of time to dive into what your bio says. The other thing you want to do is make sure that it tells people a little bit about what you do. I've created a bio site so that, and I know that a couple of other women have done this in their profiles as well. So in the bio site, I've got, which I can't click into here, I've got my postpartum website. I've got a hair quiz, a skin quiz, and a link to filling out a little bit about, it's like a business, jump into the business, and it kind of goes through earning potential, why you're interested in the business. Now, I haven't had a huge amount of interest in that particular one. It could be that it is a little bit too detailed for people, but it is still, I think it's still really important to have it there because I know people are looking at it, even if they don't fill it out. I've had a lot of success, and I know Cherie has as well, with the hair quiz and the skin quizzes. Especially if people come to your page from a hair reel, and they want to reach out to you, they can instantly go in there and fill out the hair and skin quiz. And then you get notified, and then I can reach out to them. The other thing, now you can see I've got take my beauty and hair quiz or work with me written. I got this from Krista Pani when she was doing a social media training. She said that she'd had someone come and audit her page and they just had no idea what she did. And Krista Pani is the top income earner of Monat. So I just thought that was so interesting. And she'd been doing this business for at least, like, she's been in this business for many, many years. I think it's about something like 5 to 7 years. And people still didn't know, like, they said that they still didn't know what her page was about. So that's why I've been really specific there on go here and see what I do, like take my beauty quiz or work with me. Highlights reels. So once you've built up stories. So going back, stories, you want to be doing at least 5 to 10 stories a day within each of your pillars. That is so that when people are coming to your page, there's always a story there that they can come and get to know you a little bit in your stories, but then also so that you can start to build some highlights reels. So all of your highlights, you want your highlights reels to be your pillars. So as you can see, I've got, so my pillars, and if you don't, I'm not going to go into pillars in this training, but take a little bit of time to work out what your pillars are. And this can feel a little bit daunting at the beginning. If you're like, I don't know what my pillars are, work with your mentor on that. But once you've figured out what your pillars are, then you want to create them into highlights reels. So my pillars are food, postpartum, mum life, hair, skin, and the business. Yeah. So because I've been doing stories consistently every single day, I've got heaps of content to put in my reels so that then when people are coming into your page, they see your bio, they see what you do, then they can go in and get to know you a little bit more through your highlights reels. And then also I've got in there what I do, and what I do is specifically about the business. And you can go into my page and have a look what I mean, but I've got like within that, I've got my why I'm doing this business, what I do, as in like how I mentor women, and share product, share the skincare and the hair care with women and men. What else do I have in there? How to work with me. So people, like, I just don't want anyone to ever be confused about how they can get in contact with me about the business or what it is that I do or how they could join me. So I've got it really laid out. You sign up with a product pack, like the whole all of the steps of how they can join the business. The other thing, I'm the type of people that I love aesthetics. I love beautiful imagery. I love lighting. I love beautiful photos, and I am really drawn to people's pages that have all of that. Like they have a really beautiful landing page and images, and like they really care about lighting and things like that. I would highly suggest investing in a ring light and having it set up in places and rooms in your house that you know that you can come straight to and do an easy story, an easy live, because there can definitely be a barrier to if you're about to go and do it, if you need to do a story, if you need to do a live, if you're about to jump on with a mentor or something like that, and you don't have anywhere set out in your house, and you're kind of fumbling around trying to find where to set up, where the best lighting is, you set up and the lighting is that or whatever. You just want to eliminate all of those barriers so that you don't have to think about it. So I've got 3, 4, 5 spots in my house that I know that I can easily jump and do a story or a live, that I know where the lighting is good, and then I have like the cord set up to if I need to move my ring light around, I know that there's a cord there that I can instantly plug into. So $60 ring light from Kmart, highly recommend. And then you can kind of go into the little bit more expensive ones, like what's the other one called? Big Softy. I think that's about $100 and something. That's the one that I think Lou has one of those and Denise has one of those. But yeah, I definitely just start out with a Kmart version. Okay, so reels and posts. Now, if you're coming from a page that's a private page like me, minimum, I would highly suggest starting out with a minimum of 1 reel or a post per day, sometimes even up to 2. Now I know that can seem quite daunting. It definitely was very daunting for me in the beginning because I was like, what am I going to do a reel a day about? But start to get into the habit of doing that every single day, because when you do this and you start to build your profile, and you're doing this on all of your different pillars. So the reason that this is so good in the beginning is that over a certain period of time, say 4 to 6 months, if you've been posting a reel and a post every single day, then you get a lot bigger picture of, okay, what is resonating with people? What is resonating with my following? And then you can really hone down into then what you're going to continue posting based on the things that are landing for people. So then you would, after 4 to 6 months, you can go into your insights page in settings, and you can go to the past, 2, 3, 4 months and have a look at the posts that have done the best. And then hone in on what it was about that you think really, really resonated with people. And then you can kind of niche in on your content. So throwing heaps of different content on the wall, seeing what sticks at the beginning, is what has really, really worked for me. In the beginning, if you go back to some of my earlier posts, I was posting all the things. I was doing all different types of things. I was doing really, really long posts, really, really deep, I don't know, posts about, traditional postpartum care. I've done all the things. The things that actually really resonate with people are super, super simple. The simplest videos, the least amount of wording, and things that, for example, like tips that I give people. And it doesn't necessarily have to be tips about like hair. It's like my top performing posts have been tips on how to reduce stress at meal times. So this has nothing to do with anything that I'm trying to sell people. It's just me sharing my knowledge, and in really, really simple ways. So as you think about it as giving people things that they would maybe Google in a lot of your posts. Now, that's going to build lots of trust with people. It's going to get people to come to your page. The other ones that have done really well for me is when I've niched into, say, my hair care. So because I do postpartum care, a niche for me is postpartum hair loss. And so when I've like really dove into, for example, like, again, one of the top posts reels for me that has done super, super well, like it's just gone bonkers, was how to reduce postpartum hair loss. So you can see that that's quite specific, and that's a big niche. And it's something that you think like lots of women are looking for how they can reduce postpartum hair loss. So see, that's why at the top I've what's it called? Save that one, pinned that one to the top. Because that's something that draws people in. The other thing that really draws people in for me is my food posts. Even if they're super simple, like a couple of seconds of for example, like a bliss ball or something that I've just created. So the point I'm trying to get here is this: what I have found is really simple stuff seems to really resonate with people and bring people to my page. Anyone have any questions about that? Anything there? Otherwise I'll go to the next one. Okay. How to create a reel. So because I've been doing this for so long, I've had a lot of issues with doing reels in Instagram, for example. A lot of the time the text doesn't work. It'll delete the text when I post it. I'll spend all of this time doing this like amazing reel on Instagram, and then I go to post it and it for some reason just doesn't work. So I had a lot of resistance to doing Canva reels for a while because it just was going to take me a little bit longer to learn. But Canva, I love Canva because you can have so many different fonts. You can change the background color of the video. There's heaps of different cut options, and there's so many templates that you can use from Canva and kind of like recreate your own. If you're doing really simple reels there's like only a tiny bit of text, definitely you can like I would go in to do that in Instagram, but I find out that I always do all of my reels now in Canva, even if it's really simple text, because I can pick the text that I want. The other thing with reels, so you can really dive into like doing heaps of, like I would suggest picking once a week where you film some content, but you don't have to always be filming new content. Like you can be using old videos of you just living your life, you down at the beach, you walking the dog, you playing with the kids, typing on your computer, or getting ready with me. Another barrier, this is something that I had played with a lot over this last 7 months, is getting a little bit too obsessive about the filming part of it. And I would lose a lot of time. Yes, I've learned a lot along the way of doing that, but I would say that that's probably been a little bit of a blockage for me in just getting things done. Rather, like there was many a time that I could have just used an old video for something, but I spent, an hour filming something that maybe I didn't need to. So in the beginning, I would use videos that you've already got. I'm sure that you have heaps of videos in your phone of you just doing everyday things. And then when you put the music over the top and the text over the top, then you kind of really enhance it. So it can be the most simple video. Like some of the reels that have done the best for me is me just literally with my feet walking along the ground, walking along the beach, holding my daughter's hand. It's like takes me like 30 seconds to film that. And then I put some beautiful music over the top and some text. The other thing with music, I love music. I love all different types of music. I use Spotify, so I often have different playlists on. And then when I am listening to a song and I'm like, yeah, I love that song, that could definitely be a song that I could use in a reel. I have a folder in my Spotify where I call it Instagram Reels. So I save my favorite music there when I'm listening to it. So then when I'm doing a reel, I don't have to kind of like figure out the songs. I've already got a saved folder, and then I can pair that song with the vibe of my reel, whether that's like, I tend to have like a bit more upbeat, fun vibes when I'm doing hair flicking or skin stuff. And then for kind of like my postpartum business reels, it's a bit more, I don't know, chill vibes. Makes you feel a bit like heart vibes type of music. The other thing you can do with music is when you see other people's reels and they have a really cool song that attached to their reels, you can go into that and save directly from their reel, that music. And then you have a saved folder in your music when you go into reels, so that you can just quickly click in there and all of your saved music will be there, and then you can pair that with your reel. Let's go back. Okay, this has gone straight into, wait, hold on. Okay. The other little last tip I was going to leave you with here is work out the best spots in your house that have the best lighting at different times of the day. So the best lighting is always going to be natural light. You want the light in front of you. So there's a window in front of me here, that way. So the light is coming to me. If I had the window behind me, the light would it would darken like my face. So you always want the light in front of you. In the morning, the best spots in the house are going to be the northeast sides where the sun is rising, and then in the afternoon, the west sides of the house. So this room that I am in is perfect in the afternoon. It's the western side of the house. So I film most of my food content in the kitchen in the morning because that's where the sun is rising on the north. And then in the afternoons, I mainly film in my bedrooms and this room because it's got the beautiful sun in the western side of the house and in the afternoon. So that's just my little hot tip. So this is a little film screen record that I've done of how to create a reel in Canva. I might just go back because that's gone too fast. If you haven't used Canva, does everybody use Canva? I don't know how technical I need to go in here. I can't see anything if you say anything. Okay. The thing that I find, there's two ways I like to do reels in Canva. I either like to go straight from creating a reel and it gives me a blank template, or I go in and I search templates and I see one that I like the vibe of, and then I'll copy that and then I'll just change either the color or the text. I'll show you what I mean here. So this is me just creating a real blank canvas. And I think you can pick a template from here. So then I'll come down and I find a template that I like. So obviously it's going to be the nature one. And then I just edit. So the background of this is, as you can see, it's black, which means that you can darken the video. I like to darken them a little bit so that I can see the white writing over the top. And then I just this is a half a second photo that video that I've just done of me with my leg at the beach in the wind, and a bit of you can see the shadow of my arm. And then I just change out the text, make it whatever text I'm going to be putting in that reel. You can change the fonts, you can change the italics, you can make it bold. You can use music straight from Canva, but you don't get as many options on here. So I like to just put the music together when I upload it into Instagram. Takes a bit of playing around and playing around with all of the editing but yeah, I definitely find Canva is the best. So then you can see that, and then you can make the video, you can split the page. So this part here, I'm going to split the page so that I can have two different, so text at the beginning and then a different text at the split. Does that make sense? So I've split it, and then I can make the video longer, can make it shorter, so that when the video runs, I've got, so say it's I don't need much to be happy, and then the next bit will say something else, like whatever I can't even remember what I wrote on this one. So as you can see, there's so many things that you can play around with here. So there's a lot more technical than Instagram. And they have like the writing can fade in or fade out if you wanted to do that. I think then I go into, I think that might be the end of that. And then I'm going to show you how to do that in Instagram. To upload this into Instagram. That's the end of it. Any questions about that? You might when you come to do it. Okay. This is how I then do it in Instagram from Canva. Download it from Canva. This is one I've done recently. And then I just upload it into the Reels section. And then all I need to do, it's like super simple. All you need to do is then add music. And if you wanted, so I mainly add like a little emoji or something here. So like if it's a tips one and I go like emoji so that you go into the comment section. I also find with Instagram splitting the using multiple videos and splitting them tends to error a lot for me, unless you're doing just one really simple video. But if you're doing a video like say like a wash video that this is on my playing with my music. If you're doing something like a wash video that's really long and you have to cut it a lot, I'd probably suggest doing it in Canva. I did my wash video, how to wash, in Instagram, and it took me so long, so much longer than it should have, because the cutting options are not as great. So what I've learned about Reels. So you want to have a call to action, unless you're doing a reel that is, you know, maybe something about mum life that you're just sharing, then you wouldn't need a call to action. But most of your reels, you want to have a call to action. So this one that I'm doing right here, I've got a call to action at the bottom. And it's generally always a DM me or hit the poll. I don't actually think the polls are showing up for me anymore. Something that people can interact with you or ask you questions about. So whether the reel's something funny, beautiful images, uplifting music that matches your style, you want to have a similar kind of vibe of music and imagery on your page, so that when people come to your page, and whether that's because they've been drawn to a reel that you've posted, they get a similar feeling and similar messages on your page. I'm not sure if most of you have watched that masterclass that Mish shared the other day. She spoke a lot about binge-worthy content. And if you think about the content that you love to binge, when you come to their page, if you've seen a reel that they've posted and that's come up in your, what's it called when you, you know what I mean? When you, it's like reels that you would like, and you come to that page, I can't think what it's called. You know what I mean? And then you find a reel that you're like, oh, that's cool. Whether that's like, I'm obsessed with watching makeup tutorials for some reason. So for example, I saw a makeup reel last night. I went to her page and it was just jam-packed with other makeup reels. And I just absolutely binged it. And I thought, this is exactly what that training was about, binge-worthy content. So you need, if people are coming to your page and they've been drawn to something, they want to have, go in and be able to binge a whole heap of content that is similar to that. So that's just something to think about, binge-worthy content. That's something that I'm definitely thinking about at the moment. Do I have binge-worthy content? How could I make binge-worthy content? So yeah, uplift your music, beautiful writing or messaging. If you're really good at speaking, doing lots of speaking reels. So that would be binge-worthy content. If someone's seen a reel that you've been speaking on a particular topic and then they come to your page and then there's more of that, then they're going to potentially binge, a whole heap of your stuff. Now, 3 types of creators. Jess was talking about this on one of her trainings a couple of weeks ago, which I really, really resonated with. And that is that you're going to relate to one of these 3 topics, whether you are a really good writer, a really good speaker, or you have beautiful imagery and aesthetics, to really hone in on what it is that you are really good at within any of those 3. So, for example, I really think that Mish is a great speaker, so she should really hone in on speaking reels and sharing her genius in that way. I love imagery and aesthetics, so I've kind of always honed in on that. And I love, like, as you can see, taking beautiful lighting, and I've always loved imagery. So that's something that I'm really honing in on. Another tip I have here. So I really, really recommend batch creating content, because I've done it 2 different ways. I've not batch created, and I've just so I have batch created and then I've created content when I feel creative. Now, what I've learned from that is within a month, I am not always creative. I have the first, if just after my cycle, the first maybe week and a half, 2 weeks, I'm super creative and I can pump out reels. I'm like super keen to do, film content. But then when I get to the second half of my cycle and I have literally no inspiration, no creativity, I'm like, I don't know what to post. No idea what to post. I can't create anything. Don't feel like it, which is definitely not a great way to run my business, because you need to be consistent. So what I now do is batch create content, which is so much better for me running my business, because I don't have to every day. I don't have to think about what I'm going to be creating. It's already done. I just post it even if I'm not feeling creative that day. This is particularly good if you've got a sale that's just dropped. So for example, the sale that dropped yesterday, if you're watching this live, I already have a reel created that I've done a hair flicking video and some content. So I don't have to think about that reel that I'm going to post today because it's already done. Whereas if I came to today and I was like, okay, right, I need to do a reel today. It needs to be about hair because there's a sale happening. I'd probably waste quite a bit of time thinking about what I'm going to talk about, which just wastes time. The other thing I do is I save reels that I love and I feel inspiration when I see. I never copy anyone's reel, but I use it for inspiration. So this is particularly good for me when I'm having a creative block or a creative lull. I have a folder in my Instagram where I save reels that either it's beautiful imagery or there's a beautiful message, or I love the music, or I love the text, or whatever it is. I save that to a folder called Reel Inspiration. And I can then go there when I'm batch creating my content once a week and go, okay, cool. I loved that. I love whatever it was that they said there. I'm going to make a hair reel that's similar, but I don't know, the text is different or the music is different. So that's something I'd really recommend. As I said, batch creating content. I like to batch create at least a week's worth of content. I have a kind of a strategy around how I batch create too. I have my pillars, but then I have the 3 arms of my business. And within that, I've got hair, I've got the Monat business, I've got my postpartum business, and then I've got like an arm of that's food. So within each of those, I've got, so say hair. Within that, I've got how to do an oil treatment, postpartum hair loss, how to reduce postpartum hair loss. There's a couple of examples. Another one is mum hair hack, heatless curls, for example. So then when I come to do my batch creating, I just go, what is it that I want to speak about in that this week, and create something from there. If I'm doing my postpartum, for example, it's like within that, I've got what is postpartum doula, traditional postpartum care, tips, top tips when visiting a new mum, da 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 da. I find that really works for me, because when I come to create my content, I don't have to wrap my brain to think, oh, okay, I've got to do a post on hair. What am I going to do? I kind of have I've got, what I'm going to create within that, so that I don't have to think about it too much, if that makes sense. So that's something that's really working for me at the moment as well. Okay, next. Okay, now I come to the connecting part. Let me see where my time is. Okay, 15 minutes, cool. So then after you've created a beautiful landing page, you've got your reels down pat, people are now coming to your page from your reels, but then we're going to go in, now I'm going to go into like how to connect with people, how to find your people, how to get them to come and stay at your page. So connecting. Spend time, let's say once, a couple of times a week doing this, searching for people and their pages that you really connect and resonate with. Start interacting with them, connecting and liking their content that you feel genuinely connected to. And then how to find them. So this is how I go and find my people. I go to pages that I love consuming their content. And I've got a couple of examples here that, like, the ones that I love. And the reason that I specifically go to these pages is because I know that the people that are following these pages would only be my type of people. So, for example, the pages I love: Loco Love, Zulu and Zephyr, which is a clothing brand I love, Wife on the Prairie, my local health food stores, homeschooling mums. It could be anything. So I go to their pages and I go to their followers who are following them. And then I don't go and follow everyone. I'm quite specific. I go through and I see who's following them, and I can generally tend to get a feel for people from their bio picture. If I want to be friends with them, and for me, it tends to be mums, mainly mums, or and they tend to have a similar vibe if they're posting on their Instagram regularly. And then I go and follow them. So it's mums, it's postpartum doulas is a big one for me that I also follow, like mums surfing, mums in nature, mum at the beach. So then I go in and follow them. Now, when you go and follow them, they will I generally tend to get them following me back. Now, it's obviously because they also resonate with my page. Because when so they've come to my page and I've got enough content there that they can work out if they want to be friends with me and if they want to stick around and follow me. Then from there, we go into building relationships. So building genuine relationships does take time. So you want to be continually connecting with them, commenting on their posts, commenting on their stories. Obviously, if you feel like resonance with that, liking their posts, interacting with if they're doing polls or if they're doing question boxes, getting in there and interacting with their stuff, jumping in their DMs for a chat. So yeah, it's just really about being social, networking. Once you start doing that too, it's going to mean that they start seeing more of your content. So often when you first start following someone, if you haven't gone and liked any of their stuff, you are not going to automatically show up on their page. But as soon as you start going in and chatting to them in their DMs, liking their content, then you will start showing up on their page so that they are then seeing what you're sharing and what you're all about. Then move this. Okay, so then something else I highly recommend doing is in your stories, having interaction tools and buttons. So within your stories, you are sharing a lot more intimate details about who you are, but then you're also sharing there like why you're doing this business. You know, you're just telling why you've chosen this skincare, this hair care. Particularly when you're doing your why you started this business, you can build a story over many different slides. At the end, you always want to make sure that you've got some sort of interaction tool, whether that's a poll, question boxes, so people can respond and interact with you. Once you've built solid connections with people, you will tend to get a lot more people interacting with these types of things. So an example of a story series that I've done that I always tend to get interactions from people from, and this is where I can then go in and go directly into the business opportunity and talk to them in when I'm doing a reach out, is when I've done a why series of like why I've done this business, what I was doing before, what I've gained from this business so far. Like if you're doing that type of story, at the end, I've got a poll, and it might be at the end of the stories, I've said, if you're ready to come and do this with me, blah, 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 blah. In the poll, it says, send me your opportunity call. I'm ready to go. I'd like to have a one-on-one call with you, or I'm not ready yet. So people can click in there. And then from there, when people start to interact with you, then you can directly go in and do a reach out. I'll ask them directly about the business. So that's something that I would always recommend doing, or doing regularly, not all the time. I find that this does tend to work better when you're not doing them all the time. And then the last part is reach outs. I've done a lot of reach outs. I've done a lot that doesn't work. What I definitely find works the most is when I am not. Definitely the reach outs that work the most are when people have clicked on something. So they've clicked on a poll, they've clicked on I do a lot of emojis where they have to tap the emoji if they're interested in the business or they want to hear more or something like that. So even if I find a lot of people go, I accidentally hit it, which is still good because you can still start a conversation with them. And I have had a lot of conversations with people that have said, I accidentally hit it. But then they're like, oh, but cool, tell me about da 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 da. So it starts a good conversation, even if they've accidentally hit it. So I definitely always recommend having some sort of interactive tool like that. Oops. Okay, so let me reach out. I can't see. Now, I don't tend to do cold reach outs. And what I mean by a cold reach out is going to someone that I haven't built a relationship with before. The reach outs that I am doing are with people that are already in my story. So I've built my page. I've worked on building my relationships. I've found people that I resonate with and I vibe with. They're coming and following me now. Now they're watching my stories. I don't do this straight away. I'd probably do this. I'd give it a month, I would say, of them regularly watching my stories, because once they've been watching me for at least a month, I know that they're interested in something that I do. that I'm doing, whether that's like my postpartum, whether that's just they vibe with me, whether they actually interested in the business or that they want to try the hair care. I'm every day I'm checking who is in my stories. So I know the people that are new. I know the people that have been that are around for a while. I know the people that are have been watching every single thing that I do, but they're just not ready yet. So I'd suggest really getting to know the people that are watching your stories. Start connecting and interacting with them too. That's just part of building that relationship. Especially if there's someone that also post and do stories regularly. This is harder when you've got people that don't post. It's harder to get an idea of what they're about. So what I found with those types of people, so I just go straight in. I don't mess about with any small talk because I don't really know much about them, especially if they have a private page and they haven't accepted me as a friend or that they've got no photos on their profile. The other thing, when people are in your stories, now they're in your shop front. So you have permission to directly approach them about the business or about the hair. Voice notes. I always find voice notes are the best way to reach out. I've done multiple text reach outs and they do not land. I've had maybe a few land. The ones that have landed are mums that are breastfeeding and that they can't really listen to voice memos. Or they're a little bit shy and they wouldn't want to send a voice memo back. They're the ones that have text. So I definitely have had, even with those, I've had more success with voice notes. They can hear your energy and your passion and your excitement. And they can get, obviously they're watching your stories so that they know what you're about, but it's just a lot more personal, I think. Yeah. And as I said, if you're unable to work out kind of who they are from their page, if they don't post often, and they're in your stories and they're in there regularly, I would go straight in with like approaching them about the business or the products. So I've got some script examples here. The ones at the bottom are a little bit more, these are scripts that I've gotten from some of the other Monat girls that I've had written in my notes for a while that I thought I'd add in here. I would highly recommend you work out a script that works best for you. I've changed different scripts and I've done it a lot of different ways, but the thing that has always worked best for me is when I really tune into that person that I'm talking to. Especially when I get a vibe of their page, I get a vibe of someone instantly and I can hone in on when I'm talking to them about what it is that I'm drawn to about them and talking to that and why I think that would be great for this business, and why I think we resonate, why I think I vibe with them. So the first example script I've got here is probably the one that I do the most, but again, this is always going to change based on the person. So this one, the first one is if they've hit a poll or if I've seen them in my stories a lot. So the first one's like, "Hi, Gorge, so nice to connect with you here. I saw your face pop up on my stories and I wanted to reach out and say hi and share my voice. I love the vibe of your page. I feel like we're aligned in our love of the ocean, nature, or whatever there is. And of course, mum life." Now, generally, most people that are following me are mums or women. So we align on that. And then I don't know, I don't always say this. Are you doing anything for work at the moment? That just depends. Again, I really try and tune in. The ones that don't work, the reach outs that don't work, is when I've seen them hit a poll and I get too excited and I word vomit and I haven't actually said anything about them in the voice memo. So I have to just be mindful of that, not getting too overexcited and like really tune into why this business would be good for them or why we resonate. the other thing is like, and I've said it in here, I actually don't think I've written it in here, but I said it to someone that I reached out to this morning. It's like we're working together really closely. So we have to be aligned and kind of vibe with each other, because you get to be really close with these people that you start to work with. What else did I say? I am partnered with Monat, and I'm looking for like-minded women to jump in and do this business alongside me. It's so epic and fun and perfect to weave into mum life and other commitments. The women in our team are all mums and very like-minded, so you would fit in so well. You already have such a beautiful page and feel, so I think you would do so well in this business, as your people would be instantly drawn to what you do, what you share. Let's arrange a time to chat. The one at the bottom, so you guys can read these ones, but the one at the bottom is diving straight in with, have you tried the products? I've also had a lot of success with my reach outs of just the products. Hey, have you tried Monat? Would you be keen to try Monat? I get this feeling if, well, you can gauge, if you can say two things. Hey, would you be interested in the business or Monat? If you have no idea, and then they can say, oh, I'm keen for the products. And then you can chat to them about the products. Or if they've been answering any of your polls that are specific to the products, then you can go straight in with a reach out directly about the products. Yeah, but I would always just try and like really tune into the person that you're talking to. So these I always change depending on the person, but I've just kind of given a bit of a rough idea of the type of things I say. That is it. I hope you all got something from that. Let me know if you've got any questions. I'm just going to shut that down so I can see answers, questions down here.
Kate, it's Rennie here. I
Hi,
just thought it might be easier to talk than type, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm just wondering, did all of this knowledge that you've gained on how to like set up your profile and change, the layout and all that type of stuff, did you learn that yourself over a period of time, or did you know that coming into this already? Because I feel really like technically, I don't know, there's a massive block there for me with technology, especially like little intricate parts of apps and stuff. Like, to get my head around that, I find it really hard. So yeah, I'm just wondering if you, like, did you bring all of that knowledge with you, or did you just learn that over time as you were doing this kind of thing?
I just learned it. Yeah. I had no idea how to do a reel. I knew how to do stories, but I didn't know how to do, like the polls and the question boxes and all that type of thing. I've learned all of that along the way. There's a really, really good training called The Mirror. I don't know if you guys have seen that, within Gaia's Main, which I think it's a 5-part series or something on social media. And I've kind of briefed over a lot of what they've said, but each topic is like, one of them's just imagery, photography, lighting. One of them how to do a reel. I think Denise does that one. I can't remember what the other ones are. That's a really good training. I learned a lot from that one. That was one of the ones that I loved when I first started. Specifically about, I loved the part about the lighting. But I've definitely learned, I learned how to do a reel. I remember when I was first starting to do reels, and I would get so frustrated at myself. I'm like, this is taking me so long, because there is, especially if you're doing a reel that's a little bit more complicated, like a hair wash video reel. I did that in the beginning and I thought this was so hard. But I definitely would suggest try and make it as simple as possible when you're first starting doing a reel. Make it really short, a walking video, or like try not to make it too complicated at the beginning, because you'll get really frustrated at yourself.
Yeah, I tried the other
to
do one on what's it called? CapCut. That's right. and I watched a tutorial on YouTube, which was really good actually, because I just need people to like show me step by step, and she did that. And so I was like, okay. So I went on with a couple of videos, and I tried to like cut this like 5-minute video down to like 45 seconds, and it was doing my head in. I was like, oh my God. So I just had to shut it down, and it was fun to kind of like figure out a few of the effects and stuff that you can choose in the app. Like I was splitting things, which I had never done before. But to me, like I haven't gotten to that point of actually creating one. So yeah, I was just wondering, like, because I often say to myself, am I taking too long? Like I feel like I'm taking a long time to get my head around all this stuff, you know, but maybe it's just
No,
some are good
I think
quicker than others.
the people that are quicker are people that have already done reels before. But I think it's just all part of the process. You have to be a beginner and learn, and it be frustrating at the beginning, and you know, when you do mistakes and like things like that, that's where you learn. So I definitely was very frustrated, same as you at the beginning, and I couldn't figure out how to do it, and the technical stuff was doing my head in. But then when you get it, like it just clicks. And yeah, depending on what, I haven't used that program that you were talking about. I've used Canva for a long time, not for Reels, but I kind of had a bit better understanding of Canva. That's why I've been drawn to that program.
And do you pay for the subscription on that, for that one, or is it free?
I think I've got a free one.
Yeah, there
Maybe
might
I
have been a free.
pay for it. Actually, I think I do pay for it because I used it to create all of my branding for my doula business. So I think I do pay for it. But that you can
Okay.
get a free one.
Yeah. Anyway, if you pay for it, it's a tax deduction, I suppose.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have a filter that you put over your videos? Yes. I only darken it, if that's what you mean. In my So the reason I darken it is because I want the text to be able to come over the top. The beautiful light that you mean is where I'm picking the different lights in my house. So I always try to have natural light at different times of the day. So I know, for example, 3:30, 4 o'clock in one of the front rooms of my house, the sun will come in at a certain angle on a white wall. So that's when I like try and film some of my content, because the lighting's coming across like this. But that's taken me a while to figure out all these different places in my house. So I don't have a filter. But when I edit my videos on my phone, I'm going to pick one for you. I go to, you guys can see, edit up the top, and then adjust. Maybe you can see this. And then there's a plus button. This is if you guys have an iPhone. And then I take it all the way down to about 80. So it darkens the video so that when I put white text over the top, you can see it. So if I didn't darken it, the text would be really, like you wouldn't be able to see it very well. Does that make sense? So I always do it about either 50 to 80, depending on how bright or dark the video is. Does that make sense? And then I upload it to Canva and then start editing. Or I've got Canva on my phone as well, which is good. So you can upload it straight from there. Anyone else got any questions? Yeah. Yeah. Lou just said she just made a reel that was her and Hux holding hands, I think. Yeah, that was a beautiful one. I've done similar ones with Zoe. It's like literally walking at the beach, quick, get your phone out. Our feet look cute on the ground walking, and it's like, bang, there's a reel. So yeah, Rennie, just I'd try and keep them really, really short and simple if you're doing just to get you pumping some out.
And then the then the text that you put over that, is that just something that's come to your mind, or like, you know, like, because you want to, because that put the hook in, right? Like if you're putting in doing a reel, it's all about like that hook paragraph or sentence or whatever.
Yeah, so it depends on what I'm
Feeling.
real about. I try and do, like in my planning session, I will pick the days that I'm doing things, unless I always try and leave Friday, Saturday, Sunday for hair, skin, family. And then this is how I normally schedule my week. The beginning of the week is my business. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is Monat business, doula business. And then, yeah, the rest of the week is like hair, skin. Depending on if a sale dropped on Monday, then I'd change it around. If it was a hair skin sale, and I'd kind of put a hair reel in. But like sales dropped on a Friday, so that's cool because I'm going to do a hair reel today anyway. The text, it just depends on which reel pillar I'm doing for the day. This comes in like the creative block. If I had to come to sit to do a reel today and I'm like, okay, cool, has to be hair. What am I going to say? No idea, because I'm like having to pull it out of thin air right now. This is like, it never works. And which is why I think for like the last 2 weeks, I hadn't done hardly any reels, because I'm like, I don't know what to say. So that's why I have a planning session on a Sunday where I've had a clear head all for most of the morning. Haven't been doing any work. When I come to sit down and do my planning, and I've got like within each of my blocks what I'm going to talk about, then it will flow a lot easier. Then when you do you'll have creative drops sometimes. Get it down on paper, write it in your phone, just save it whenever you get a creative download so that you can use it later. What's the other thing I want to say about that? Yeah, I don't know. It'll come back to me.
Cool, thanks. Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. Have a beautiful afternoon, everyone. If anyone ever needs any technical help, I'm always happy to help. If you want to ask me like a random question about how to do something, just shoot me a DM. Always happy to help. Thanks, beauties. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.